Hobby and spiders just goes together. Hi and welcome to Scott's Inverts. I'm Scott, these are the Inverts, and this video I'm going to explain to you guys why I do not recommend slings for a new starter, somebody that's new to the hobby, a first time hobbyist. This is because they come in these tiny little sling pots, and if you spray these to keep them moist, they dry out so fast. And with a lot of the species, especially when they're slings, the humidity in here is absolutely crucial because that's where they get a lot of their moisture from. So they're looking at any droplets, drinking from the droplets on top of the substrate, that type of thing. Now, a lot of the time you buy a sling and it gets delivered to you and it's not even got sling colours. It is still very much an N1, so it's got past its first molt, and that's about it. So it's tiny, and at this stage they're extremely vulnerable, and I for one think that these should still be kept with the supplier until they're at least 3 or 4 molts. This is so you retain the same humidity and the same temperature as what the mother had looking after her babies. This way I think that it can prolong their life, give them a lot more better chance, especially when we get them at home. Especially if you're new to the hobby, you've not got that much experience, so if you do miss spraying these, it could be absolutely detrimental to your spider. Whereas if you go for what I'm thinking as an alternative is one of those larger slings, maybe 1/2 inch to 3 inches. I know it's dependent on species because of dwarf species and all the rest of it, but you know, the sellers aren't stupid, they do know the difference, so they can adjust that correctly. But if you go for a larger sling, it's going to be a lot more robust, it's going to be a lot more stronger. Thus, it's got the potential of living a lot longer in the long run and making you a happy spider keeper. What you could also do is either go for a juvenile, a sub-adult or an adult in the New World era. If you have a look back at my top 5 beginner spiders, beginner tarantulas, there's 5 there. That's absolutely perfect for the ones that you'll be looking at. These guys are obviously a lot more robust. They can have a little bit more change without there being too much of an issue. So if you miss spraying them one day, it's not the end of the world, you just do it again. Whereas if you look at the smaller slings, if we miss spraying these, that could be absolutely crucial and kill off this tiny tarantula that lives in here. So if you are new to the hobby, or if you're looking at getting into the hobby, try and look out for those larger slings, maybe sub-adults, juveniles, or even adults. We have the flip side of this as well. Tiny slings, those tiny slings, you don't see them very often. Sometimes you'll see a little black dot on the web inside here, and that's about it. My advice to you guys would be, go for a little bigger spider, because in one, it can take a little bit more abuse, especially if you're a new timer and you've not got a lot of experience. But you can actually see this spider, you can show it to people that come and visit, get other people interested, as well as, especially with the adults, because the adults, some of the New Worlds carry a good size and look absolutely beautiful. But you can show your friends them and they can actually see them. Whether it's to show somebody something that's living in here is very difficult. I think it's like, oh, look at my tarantula, and your mates kind of go in, that's a bit of soil in there, that's not a spider. But yeah, you guys know what I mean. But I think personally, once you've got a bit of experience behind you and you're into those routines of watering, feeding, misting and that type of thing, or you're keeping a record of what you're doing, which is, I think now, absolutely crucial, that's when you start looking at getting the smallest of slings. When we know we've got those temperatures in our rooms correct, and we know, more importantly, those temperatures are consistent throughout the day and consistent throughout the year, and that gives our tiny slings a lot better chance of survival. Please let me know down in those comments if you think I'm correct. If you think I'm incorrect, please tell me as well. Also, I know I'm speaking to the sellers. What are we doing? What are you guys doing? Putting tiny slings in these mystery boxes and packaging them up as beginner species. Okay, they might be beginner species, but it's not a beginner spider because they're like this small, and the chances of survival are really low. I think if we put pressure on the sellers to start supplying spiders that are a little bit further grown on, then our hobby for us is going to be a lot better, because we're going to have spiders that live instead of sometimes passing away. And we do blame ourselves. It might not be our fault. It could be that this spider's that small. It was thrown around when it was being delivered, and we've got them into our homes, and we're keeping them at a different temperature to what they were being kept at, a different humidity and all the rest of it. And these changes for a tiny spider can be quite sensitive. So get onto those sellers. Just don't whinge at them too much. Just say, look, you know, when you're doing the mystery boxes, can these slings be a little bit bigger? I'd rather have large slings and only have 3 instead of having 5. We should all be good. Again, let me know down in those comments what you think about those mystery box slings, and if you're on the same hymn page as me, or if you think something completely different, let me know down in those comments as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. This Tuesday is the Valentine's Night Live, so it's Valentine's Day, but I love spiders more, so we're going to be looking at what favourite species that you own, favourite ones in your collection, maybe have a little bit of an open mic night on that as well. But that's Tuesday at 8 PM GMT, so that's 8 PM UK time, so please pop along, come and say hello. Channel members, they do get their comments prioritised, basically because I can see them a lot easier because I've got the emoji thing after their name, which is really good. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we shall see you again on the next one.